My family forgot my baby monitor was still connected. Their private conversation changed everything. I had my daughter Lily when I was 22, and my family never let me forget how disappointed they were. My mother said I'd ruined my potential. My father barely looked at me during my pregnancy. My older sister Diane acted like I'd personally offended her by not following her perfect life script of degree, career, marriage, then kids. But they all showed up when Lily was born, cooing over her in the hospital like they hadn't spent 9 months treating me like a cautionary tale. I moved back home temporarily because I couldn't afford rent and childcare on my salary. They let me stay in my old bedroom with Lily's crib beside my bed. I set up a baby monitor so I could hear her from anywhere in the house. The camera unit sat on my dresser pointed at her crib. The parent unit, the one with the screen and speaker, I carried everywhere. What my family didn't realize was that the monitor picked up everything in a 30-foot radius. Not just Lily's cries. Every conversation, every whisper, every cruel word they thought I couldn't hear. The first conversation I overheard was between my mother and Diane in the kitchen. They were doing dishes after dinner while I nursed Lily upstairs. My mother said she was embarrassed to tell her friends I was living at home with a baby and no husband. Diane agreed and added that I'd always been the difficult one, the one who made bad choices, the one who couldn't follow simple instructions for life. She said she felt sorry for Lily having me as a mother. My mother laughed and said at least Lily was cute, so maybe she'd have a chance despite her circumstances. I sat in my dark bedroom listening through the monitor, my daughter feeding peacefully while tears rolled down my face. I told myself they were just venting, that they loved me deep down, that I was being too sensitive. But I started paying closer attention after that. I kept the monitor volume up whenever Lily slept, and the conversations kept coming. My father talked to my mother about how much money I was costing them. He said I ate too much, used too much electricity, and should be contributing more despite barely making ends meet. My mother said she wished I'd given Lily up for adoption so I could go back to school and stop being a burden. Diane called me lazy to her husband during a visit, saying I used Lily as an excuse to avoid responsibilities when really I just wanted to be taken care of forever. They discussed my weight gain. They mocked my attempts at online courses. They placed bets on how long before I got pregnant again by another loser. That's the word they used. They said Lily's father was a loser, and I was a loser magnet. I wrote everything down in a notes app. Dates, times, exact quotes. Not because I planned to use them, but because I needed proof that I wasn't imagining how horrible they were. Some nights I'd scroll through the notes and cry until Lily woke up needing me. The breaking point came during my parents' anniversary dinner. The whole family gathered in the dining room while I stayed upstairs to put Lily down for her nap. I got her settled, turned on the monitor, and headed toward the stairs to join everyone. Then I heard my name through the speaker and stopped. My mother was proposing a toast. She thanked everyone for being there, mentioned how proud she was of Diane's accomplishments, and then said, "And let's all pray that our other daughter figures out her life before Lily ends up just like her." The table laughed. Every single person laughed. I heard glasses clinking. I stood frozen at the top of the stairs listening to my entire family toast to my failure. Something in me broke, but something else clicked into place. I wasn't being too sensitive. I wasn't imagining things. They genuinely saw me as the family disappointment, and they weren't even trying to hide it anymore. I walked back to my room, packed everything Lily and I owned into 2 suitcases, and waited until everyone was drunk on champagne. At 11 p.m., I carried Lily downstairs with our bags. My mother asked where I was going. I told her I was leaving and wouldn't be coming back. She laughed and said I had nowhere to go. I told her I'd figure it out. Diane rolled her eyes and said, "Drama queen, as always." I stopped at the door and turned around. I said I'd heard everything through the baby monitor. Every conversation, every insult, every bet about my future, every laugh at my expense. The room went completely silent. My father's face drained of color. My mother opened her mouth, but nothing came out. I told them I had 6 months of notes documenting exactly what they thought of me and my daughter. I said I didn't want their money, their space, or their prayers for me to figure out my life. I said Lily deserved better than growing up in a house where her mother was treated like garbage. Then I walked out. I stayed at a women's shelter for 2 weeks until a coworker offered me her spare room. I worked doubles. I applied for assistance. I clawed my way into a studio apartment that was mine and Lily's alone. That was 4 years ago, and I haven't spoken to any of them since.